The site of America's single worst commercial nuclear accident is roaring back to life. But here is the fascinating twist. It's not being revived for, standard electricity markets or for traditional profit. It's coming back online solely to power the artificial intelligence revolution.
It's a really surreal, high-stakes collision of technology and history.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving deep into what is, well, it's arguably the most significant energy shift we've seen in decades.
The American nuclear energy renaissance.
Exactly. And it's being driven by this insatiable, constant demand from big tech, and it's all backed by massive federal support.
And the news hook here is immediate, and it's immense. The U.S. Department of Energy, the DOE, just finalized a landmark loan. $1 billion.
Oh, $1 billion.
$1 billion federal loan to Constellation Energy Generation. And this money isn't funding some futuristic, unproven tech. It's for restarting a massive idled reactor, 3 Mile Island Unit 1.
Which they're very wisely rebranding. It's now the Crane Clean Energy Center.
A smart move.
A very smart move. So TMI 1, which, was shut down just 5 years ago because it just couldn't turn a profit, is now scheduled to be back online by 2027 or 2028.
And the entire reason for this historic restart, the financial engine behind it all, is one company.
Microsoft.
That's the astonishing part, and it really gives us our mission for this deep dive. Microsoft signed a massive, long-term power purchase agreement, a PPA, to buy the entire 835-megawatt output of that plant.
For 2 decades. The deal is estimated to be worth something like $2.3 billion.
So we need to unpack how this one deal provides a template for the future, how this confluence of market demand and the Trump administration's energy dominance agenda are turning idled infrastructure into critical national security assets.
Right. This is really a story about the government making strategic investments and, crucially, simplifying regulations to meet a clear technological necessity.
And it highlights a dramatic shift. Reliability is no longer a luxury in the energy market.
No, it is the ultimate premium commodity.
So let's start right there with the driving force, because if the demand wasn't this intense, TMI 1 would still be sitting dormant. Why is big tech all of a sudden pivoting to nuclear?
Well, the answer is the energy crisis ignited by AI. AI workloads, they just consume power on a scale we really haven't seen before.
It's exponential, right?
It is. I mean, think about the difference between a simple Google search and the computation it takes to generate a complex image or write a detailed analysis with a large language model. It's orders of magnitude more power.
And these huge data centers, they need one thing above all else, something renewables really struggle with.
Baseload electricity.
That consistent, non-stop power.
Precisely. They need large, reliable baseload power.
Yeah.
That steady supply that runs 24/7, 365, no matter if the wind is blowing or the sun is shining. If that power flickers for a moment,
The whole thing could go down.
a training run with millions could be instantly ruined. So nuclear is, well, it's uniquely suited. It provides that rock-steady power without direct carbon emissions, which helps these tech firms meet their net zero goals while still scaling up.
And this is such a radical financial reversal. TMI 1 was retired in 2019 because it just couldn't compete.
Right, it was beaten by cheap natural gas.
The market was actively punishing its consistency back then.
And now the market has completely flipped. The numbers make it undeniable. The estimated cost just to refurbish TMI 1 is about $1.6 billion.
And Microsoft's PPA.
Their $2.3 billion PPA doesn't just chip away at that cost. It essentially bankrolls the entire refurbishment and guarantees profit for years to come.
Okay, but let's pause on that. Microsoft is reportedly paying a huge premium for this, right? Somewhere around $110 to $115 per megawatt hour.
Which is significantly higher than other sources.
So isn't that a massive risk? I mean, what if the AI bubble bursts or power gets way cheaper in 10 years? They're locked in for 2 decades.
That's an excellent point. And it shows this isn't about short-term cost savings. It's about minimizing operational risk. For big tech, the cost of guaranteed 24/7 reliability, the price of winning the AI race, just far outweighs the price of the energy itself. They'll happily pay that premium for nuclear stability because the cost of a power outage is, well, it's far greater.
So this one transaction sends the ultimate market signal. Guaranteed power is worth a hefty premium. And other companies are watching this.
Absolutely. This is the template. If TMI 1 works, other idle nuclear plants could find their own corporate sponsors. It removes the financial uncertainty.
But this market signal, it couldn't succeed without a huge policy push from Washington.
No, not at all. Which brings us to the strategic goals. The ambition here isn't just about preserving the existing fleet. It is huge.
We're talking about a massive expansion.
It is. The stated goal is to expand U.S. nuclear capacity from roughly 100 gigawatts today to an astounding 400 gigawatts by 2050.
A 300-gigawatt increase.
I mean, that's designed to secure America's industrial base and technological superiority for the next generation.
And the federal government is using its financial muscle here with the DOE's Loan Programs Office.
Right, which they've strategically rebranded as the Energy Dominance Financing Program. Now, these aren't subsidies. They're investment-grade loans, but they're critical because they lower the borrowing cost for projects like TMI-1.
It makes that $1.6 billion refurbishment possible.
Exactly. Secretary Chris Wright said it explicitly. The restart will help ensure America has the energy it needs to grow its domestic manufacturing base and win the AI race. It's framed as a national strategy.
And a key part of hitting that 400-gigawatt target is cutting through decades of bureaucratic red tape.
That's right. The regulatory environment had just ground new projects to a halt. So, executive orders are now directing the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the NRC, to create an expedited pathway for approving certain reactors.
It's about regulatory common sense.
And they're setting hard deadlines, signaling that, these indefinite delays are just no longer acceptable.
What kind of deadline are we talking about?
They are targeting an 18-month deadline for the NRC to evaluate and approve new construction and operation licenses.
18 months. I mean, some of these projects in the past have taken a decade just to get through the paperwork.
A decade or more.
Yeah.
So if they can implement this, it fundamentally changes the economics of building nuclear in the U.S.
And it goes beyond just the NRC license itself, right? What about those long environmental reviews that slow everything down?
The administration is using its legal authorities to direct the DOE to eliminate or expedite environmental reviews for these critical projects. The message is clear. National security is the priority, so the bureaucracy has to be streamlined.
This all links back to national security. It's not just about electricity.
Not at all. The policy formally designates AI data centers as critical defense facilities. This elevates their energy needs to the same level as a military base.
And the DOE has a tight deadline on this.
Extremely tight. They're tasked to deploy an advanced nuclear reactor specifically for AI infrastructure by October 2027.
And the Department of Defense is getting directly involved now, too.
Correct. The DoD is directed to build a nuclear reactor at a domestic military installation within the next 3 years. This shows that the military views nuclear power not just as reliable energy, but as a strategic asset.
So let's bring it back to TMI-1. How does this site, with all the historical baggage of the 1979 accident, become the template for this expansion?
Well, it's symbolic, but it's also very pragmatic. Unit 2, the site of the accident, that remains terminally shut down. But Unit 1, the reactor coming back, it operated safely for decades until financial pressures closed it.
So its history proves that these sites can be brought back successfully.
Exactly, when you have clear market demand and streamlined regulation.
So what are the actual hurdles Constellation has to clear? It's not just flipping a switch.
No, it's extremely complex. They are basically reversing the decommissioning process. They're following a new, streamlined NRC process, a kind of regulatory shortcut made specifically for this situation.
And what has to physically happen at the plant?
Oh, massive refurbishment. Overhauling major components like the turbine, generator, cooling systems. And critically, they have to restore the plant's operating license and technical specifications back to their pre-2019 state.
And prove it's safe to run for decades.
Right. They're already planning to seek a license renewal to operate all the way to 2054.
Now, this massive 400-gigawatt expansion, it requires more than just money and metal. It needs people. And the current nuclear workforce is aging out.
That's a huge national challenge. The executive orders noted that 60% of the current specialized workforce is between 30 and 60 years old. We are facing a looming talent crisis.
So how does the policy address that?
Federal investment is now explicitly prioritizing nuclear engineering education and related apprenticeships. We need to create a rapid pipeline of highly skilled, certified workers.
Not just scientists, but technicians, welders.
Thousands of them.
Yeah.
This workforce mandate is just as critical as the financial loans.
Okay, finally, let's talk about fueling independence. Because relying on foreign adversaries for nuclear fuel, that completely undercuts the whole idea of energy dominance.
That's the logical conclusion. A primary goal is to maximize domestic production of nuclear fuel. Everything from mining and enrichment to conversion and eventually recycling. We have to reduce our reliance on foreign uranium.
And that includes tackling the thorny issue of spent fuel. The U.S. hasn't commercially reprocessed spent fuel since the 70s.
This is a major policy pivot. The administration is instructing the DOE to explore and encourage fuel recycling and reprocessing. If successful, this creates a closed fuel cycle. It maximizes resources, minimizes waste, and strengthens our energy independence.
And what about the fuel for these new advanced reactors? They need a special kind.
Right, HALU, high-assay, low-enriched uranium. To solve that, the DOE plans to release at least 20 metric tons of HALU into a strategic fuel bank.
A seed stock.
A seed stock, exactly. So private companies can get started without waiting years for a new domestic enrichment facility to come online.
And this American dominance isn't just about domestic supply, it's about projecting strength globally.
Exactly. The plan is to help the U.S. nuclear industry compete worldwide. This includes pursuing at least 20 new international agreements for a peaceful nuclear cooperation. It's about using nuclear exports as a tool for diplomatic influence.
So if we step back, what this deep dive really shows is a perfect storm. You have big tech's relentless demand for power, setting a financial precedent.
That demand is being supported by massive federal debt financing that removes the risk.
And finally, you have aggressive regulatory streamlining that clears the runway.
The TMI Restart is definitive proof that private market demand, when it's coupled with decisive government action, can achieve major strategic goals. The focus is securing reliable, continuous power for a competitive America.
So if this model, a corporate PPA funding a restart, backed by DOE financing and regulatory shortcuts, if that triggers a wave of similar revivals, the whole domestic energy picture changes.
It does. It puts that aggressive 400 gigawatt of nuclear power target by 2050 squarely within reach.
And that raises the final critical question for you, the listener, to think about.
If America actually achieves this 400 gigawatt goal, and at the same time secures its own fuel supply while exporting its technology, what impact does that pursuit of energy dominance, powered by the atom, have on the geopolitical landscape and the stability of global energy markets?
It becomes a question of global leadership, fueled by reliable infrastructure built right here at home.